Hi, welcome to Take 5, where we daily consider devotional thoughts from Oswald Chambers' book, My Utmost for His Highest. Today is January 15th, and the title of today's lesson is, Do You Walk in White? Therefore we have been buried with him, that as Christ was raised from the dead, so we too might walk in newness of life. Romans 6:4. In his opening paragraph, Oswald Chambers shares, no one experiences complete sanctification without going through a white funeral, the burial of the old life. If there has never been this crucial moment of change through death, sanctification will never be more than an elusive dream. There must be a white funeral, a death with only one resurrection, a resurrection into the life of Jesus Christ. Nothing can defeat a life like this. It has oneness with God for only one purpose, to be a witness for Him. The death of which he speaks is a determined death, not a natural one to which you succumb physically. During 2012 and 2013, there were at least 2 to 3 occasions of which I did die physically due to a wreck in which I was involved. Those deaths were not voluntary in nature. They weren't suicides or acts which I purposed upon myself. Only one time during a surgery do I actually remember dying. Chambers is speaking of a spiritual death to the old self, the person you were before Christ. Once in Christ, the person now living is not the same one as who was alive. That person died. This white funeral is a mortification of the previous self, so that you can go on with a new life as a new person. It's not a natural death, it's a putting to death, a decision led by His Spirit within the individual. Paul said, I have been crucified with Christ. It's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives within me. Galatians 2 and verse 20. Old habits and a lifestyle that used to bring you pleasure shouldn't anymore. Sin now creates a level of discomfort within you, for God is watching, listening from within. Sin becomes, in a sense, more of a forced behavior because you know that though it used to be satisfying, now it makes you rather squeamish, uncomfortable. There's a sense of guilt. One can expect there to be pulls back toward the old life, since that comprises what you used to be. It was likely lived for a lengthy time. Returning now to old habits will seem sort of like going back to the old neighborhood. It's just not the same as it used to be. You were comfortable as you were, perhaps not real happy, but it was familiar. So times will occur of wanting to forget about this putting to death and resume the old life. Inward struggle to sin will remain. Satan will tell you that the white funeral is not true and that you are still the same person that you used to be, simply taking a break. That's a lie. You are new. His Spirit lives in you to give empowerment unto a new life. What used to be, or what used to not be considered sin is now considered as such. It's recognized as sin. Even with the temporary satisfaction it may bring, you know it's displeasing to God. Being in Christ will exhibit a visible change. You are no longer the same person. Zacchaeus is an example. Due to his encounter with Jesus, there was a change of heart and habits, about which Jesus said, Today salvation has come to this house. Luke 19 and verse 9. It may not be a dramatic change, perhaps it may not even be obsessively noticeable to others, but you know that within yourself a death has occurred and you are no longer who you used to be. You have experienced a white funeral. If you haven't yet read today's devotional from Dr. Chambers' book, I encourage you to do so, for it will enhance the time we spend together. It's available free online. I invite you to share here your thoughts from today's reading, any questions that you might have, and Please share prayer requests as well. And now may God's grace and peace be yours as we seek to live our utmost for His highest. God bless you. Thanks for being here today. We'll see you tomorrow.